Greetings everybody, and welcome to the LINHAMFitness YouTube channel. I'm a certified doctor of indigenous health and medicine, but in two short words, just a health coach, certified personal trainer as well. So I should have said two occupations, but that is what I do. And I wanted to give a background, a bit about myself. So at birth, I was born with what would later on be diagnosed as having an Arnold-Chiari type 1 brain malformation. And this particular condition has several symptoms, and some people are asymptomatic for years, like I was, until just before the age of 20. Now, I wanted to speak more to this because this is something that is not common. It's not something that a lot of people have come forward with knowing that they do have. It can range from migraines to numbness and tingling in the arms and the legs. It can lead to temporary loss of feeling in the legs. For myself, there will be episodes where, of course, kind of graphic, but if you're sitting down on a hard surface for too long, for me, it was longer than maybe 45 seconds, my legs would go fully asleep. So if you're one of those people that realize that your legs are going to sleep, it's very easy to sit on a hard chair, sitting on a porcelain throne, or the hard surfaces, or even if it's just a really firm surface like the edge of the bed that's really firm, and you find that your legs are going to sleep really quick, this may be something to look more into. It's not just a matter of poor posture. It's not just a matter of bad nerve endings. There could be something more serious going on up top. So this condition also can lead to severe migraines, light sensitivities, or sensitivities to light, fatigue, which I experienced these different episodes, stuttering. You can definitely have episodes of stuttering. You can find that you have no appetite for periods of time, or irregular appetites, less control of your bathroom scenarios, definitely. And so I'm throwing these things out there because these are just some of the highlight ones. This doesn't mean that this covers everything, but these are some of the highlight ones, and these are also the ones that I mostly experienced during my years of having this condition and not understanding it. But to give it more chronological scenario, I grew up, for lack of greater words, a bedwetter, and that took a toll on me mentally. So I definitely advocate for mental health, and I don't think any child that does bedwet, I don't think they should be punished for bedwetting. There could be further underlying issues. It doesn't always mean that there's trauma or that a child is being whooped on and beat on to become a bedwetter. So that's just one of the things that can take place, is having a brain malformation. Another scenario for myself, by the age of 10, I was pretty much staying awake for 2 to 3 days at a time, easily. Still getting straight A's. A B was a rare occasion. Actually, I got my first B in the 6th grade at the age of 12. And I noticed that I would go from reading every book in the world at such a young age, and then I only wanted to read certain books. On a personal level, I only wanted to read certain books. I didn't want to read any more of the novelties, like the R.L. Stein, Goosebumps books, and Boxcar Children. I don't know what time period you guys grew up in. I'm not exactly the youngest person, so I take really good care of my health now. However, to go back to it, I started reading more sophisticated books. As the symptoms got worse by college age, my grades did begin to struggle. In some instances, they suffered. I wasn't doing too well with literature. I could read on a very advanced level, but I wasn't doing too well in my lit class throughout high school. 10th, 11th, and senior year. Well, I didn't have a senior year, but I didn't do too well in them. And it wasn't because of the mental capacity, it was because I would forget to complete assignments. The attention span would go from working on this assignment to a quick, immediate distraction where I would get off course And for whatever reason, in my mind, I'm thinking that I've already done the assignment, I'm good to go. Show up to school the next day, and when the teacher asked for the assignments to be turned in, here I am rushing after work, trying to complete some assignments. And that was a disservice to myself. So I ended up going to private Lutheran college in South Carolina, Newberry College, on a resident scholarship, in which my academic capacity was really put to the test. Very great school, great for academics. And what I learned about myself there was my memory retention was much shorter, and I was having episodes of blackouts where I just wouldn't remember wrestling practices. I wouldn't remember to get to wrestling practice. I wouldn't remember where my book bag was at. I wouldn't remember where my wallet was at, my identification cards. It was the simple things that I began to forget. I would forget most things except for when to go to the restroom and when to shower. It was becoming a problem. I ended up transferring after that year to Middle Tennessee State University. So my second year, during the second year is where I noticed more symptoms. I built a lot of pretty good friendships, and thankfully so, because this circle of people are the ones that helped me cope with the symptoms that I was dealing with the Anna type 1 malformation. There was one particular day where I woke up and I went to get out of bed and my legs didn't go, but my upper body did go. My legs didn't go, but my upper body did go. And so I roll out the bed and I just completely fall to the floor. And then for some hours, my legs would be trying to wake up. Why, how that happened, couldn't explain it. But also my vision would go out. That was another one of the severe symptoms that I had, was extreme blurred vision. I use the term blind, temporary blindness, because even if I put my hand in front of my face, I couldn't recognize my hand. The front of my hand or the back of my hand, even with noticeable scars, I wouldn't be able to notice. And then extreme pain sensitivities, just because the light was on. If there was a light on, it felt very much, the word is neurotic. It felt very much neurotic. Anything that touched me amplified the pain. Taking a shirt off to get to the tub, crawling to get to my phone to make a call. So there would be times where I would just lay there until those symptoms just subsided. Unfortunately, I don't remember many of these occasions, but I do have accounts from when friends have come over and I've waken up in the hospital. It's been probably 5 to 6 of these episodes that took place, and very much scary when you're going through it, but I can only imagine what I put my friends through at this time. So I'm definitely grateful that I've had those friends, and we're still close to this day. But the last straw was at the age of 20, when I woke up one particular morning and I couldn't really see. Sometimes you think you just have eye fog or brain fog, and I went to roll out of bed, recover the bike, and it seemed like it's going to be such a great day, because the evening before and the night before were a great evening and a great night. It was a great evening and a great night, and I wanted to get out of the bed, and my legs didn't want to go, and so because of that, I tanked, hit the deck, and it took some time. Couldn't feel my legs, couldn't see, and ended up being helped to the hospital. Only this time, I remember everything that took place. The x-rays, the blood work, EKGs, the urine analysis, the MRI on the chest, MRI on the spine. Everything passed, flying colors. There were no issues. And it wasn't until I got a neurologist that was familiar with what was actually going on. And because of this rare condition, it's not very spoken upon, which is why I'm making this video in regards to an Anna brain malformation. And there are several different types. There's more than just one, there's two, there's three, I think there's four, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, I ended up returning home to my home state, Georgia, in which my doctor seen me, and I just skipped a whole bunch, excuse me. I got home, and the day I got home, everything was fine. There were no problems. My legs worked. The day I got picked up, my mother came to get me from Tennessee. My legs worked perfectly fine. Vision was perfectly fine, and she kind of has this look on her face, like, are you playing with me? Are you playing with me? Because I find out, it's not going to be pretty. Especially after filling up the tank and going all this way, 3.5 hours away. So we get back home in Georgia, and I remember the second day, and it was actually fall break. I remember the second day, and I made arrangements to meet up with someone early in the morning, probably around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And I tell you, it sounded like a cannon went off in my head. If you can imagine your eardrums popping from something, or imagine a fireworks show, but you're on site with the fireworks, and it's just the finale, just boom, 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 all over the place. It sounded like that, but it was inside of my head, where the vibration was just bouncing back to my skull, like from side to side of my skull, and excruciating. And this was not ethical, but I'm going to tell you what happened. My legs were fine, my vision was fine, and my temperature was 100 degrees even. I ended up taking Tylenol. I waited 2 hours and nothing worked. I ended up taking Excedrin and waited 2 hours. That didn't work. This time I canceled my arrangement. I let my parents know what was going on, and at this particular point there, I can't disclose too much. I don't want to jeopardize anything. But I ended up taking more extreme prescribed medications that were not mine, and it did not work. I waited 2 hours. The headache amplified, the pain worsened. My vision began to get restricted. So in previous years, when I would have these exact episodes, I would wake up to them, and it was the head pains that would actually wake me up. But now I was actually experiencing what was taking place as this was happening. I waited 2 hours, and by this time my temperature was 104.9 degrees. And every time, as far as I can recall, every time my temperature would rise and peak, it would get to 104.9 degrees. It would not break to 105. And I took another prescription pill that was stronger than the previous, and to no avail. Pain is still there. So my body tended to reject the medications. I've had many different types of IVs and pumps and prescriptions. Nothing seemed to work. I would have to ride it out. If you could imagine being in a boxing ring with some of the heaviest hitters, whenever a light would turn on, it just felt like a left hook, then a right hook, left hook, then another right, non-stop. So I would remain in dark spaces for a period of time. Well, by the end of that weekend, we went to see the doctor, and once again, we ran every test. We scheduled everything out, ran every test, and finally we were called in for a brain MRI. And once we got the brain MRI, the doctor notified us that we would would follow up with us as soon as possible once he found something. So it appeared to be some type of fluke where I would go back to Tennessee, get back in schooling, and study more. Let's get these grades, right? On the route there, maybe 45 minutes away from our destination. Mind you, we filled up the tank and everything. Well, my mother did. Thank you. 45 minutes away from destination, I'm seeing Murfreesboro signs, and lo and behold, we get a call from the neurologist, who notifies my mother that I have an Chiari type 1 brain malformation, which is where the magnus foramen, which is the rear lower occipital lobe. This is where you have the tonsils of the cerebellum begin to press downward onto, they try to squeeze through the occipital lobe, and it causes pressure onto the spinal column. And because of this pressure onto the spinal column, there are many nerves that are affected, or nerve endings that are affected, which means there are different limbs that are affected, but there are also various symptoms that may be affected. Each individual symptoms may be different, but I have listed the different symptoms that I had. My experience may be different from someone else's. Someone may have their brain surgery at the age of 5, someone may have theirs at the age of 55. It varies. It's not a cookie cutter shape. And that's the beauty and study of ongoing medicine and medical practice, excuse me. So what I would learn furthermore is this particular condition was the reason, precisely the reason for all of my years of dealing with intolerance, the pains, the black episodes, the instant fatigue. And what it boiled down to was I have a couple of different solutions or options. One, I could stay this way, don't worry about getting brain surgery, continue on and just handle as best as I can, just know that this is the reason why I am having the issue that I'm having. Or I can get brain surgery, A or B. So I decided to go with B. I didn't want to continue to deal. Now, statistically, 50% stay the same. 50% stay the same. So it's already half a chance that I would have this procedure done and nothing changes. I just continue to tolerate and deal with and get used to this as being part of my everyday life. On the other side, 30% get worse. 30% is not very, it's not a very small percentage. You know how you have to forfeit 30% of your wages due to taxes? We're not, don't answer that question. We're not going to get into that. 30% is not a small percentage. And 20% get better. I've always been for the underdog. 20% to me sounded more like 50%. It sounded like there was a chance. If I was told that there was a 5% chance, I'm going to be in that 5%. My confidence was great, in which I'm definitely grateful for having taken a doctor upon that opportunity. So we capitalized. We turned around. Well, actually, we continued, got to the school. I spoke to my circle of friends that were always supportive, and I informed them of what was going to take place, what was going to happen. I cleaned out the majority of my items from, almost all of my items that were at campus, and we returned home to Georgia. I informed my home supportive network of what was going on, my social buddies. Social media wasn't really big then. I was able to I was able to speak to the people that meant the most at that time. And so then we went into having different meetings and consultations with anesthesiologists, neurosurgeon, neurologist, and we set it up. I recall vividly the day of the operation, and it may be details I'm skipping, forgive me, charge it to my head, not to my heart. I'm a survivor of this. And the day of the surgery, I remember going into there with the mindset of 20% make it, 20% make it, 20% make it. And then the anesthesiologist, sat with myself, my father, my mother, and explained in a very positive tone of voice that this is only for the better, and asked if we could pray a prayer of protection, hedge of protection over myself during this operation. And I don't remember the prayer. I remember nothing of the prayer. I remember nothing of the sort. What I do recall is listening to Lenny Kravitz, my all-time favorite musician. And thank you, Lenny Kravitz, for everything he has done for the music industry and for humanity. I listened to his song, Fly Away. It's been one of my favorite songs since it came out. If you know, you know. So I'm thinking about the lyrics of the song, and I'm just bobbing my head, to the song. I have music playing in my head, and I don't have headphones. But once the prayer was over with, I just wanted to listen to my music, and I had the song on repeat. Because in my mind, I had already made a decision that if I'm not in the 20%, I honestly rather not be here. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to tolerate, and I don't want to deal with what's worse. Permanent paralysis, there's always the potential for that, just so you know. Things can happen. People do get worse when it comes to surgical procedures. Everyone's body reacts differently. It doesn't mean that you have a bad doctor or a bad surgeon. Sometimes people's bodies respond differently to certain anesthesias or medicines or medications, or whether it's the iodines or whether it's whatever solution that injecting you with to keep you hydrated or afloat. You don't want to be awake when certain things are being done. And other times they do have brain surgeries where you are awake. You have to make sure your motor functions are there and make sure that you can still move these fingers or these limbs, these toes. Can you lift this, or can you move your ankle, dorsiflexion? There are many things they're looking for. So people's bodies tend to respond differently to different things. So please keep this in mind. 50% stay the same. 30% get worse. 20% get better. For my scenario, once the surgery was completed and I woke up, the first thing I wanted was ice cream. Couldn't get ice cream, so I had a grape popsicle. My memory was sharp. And I recall thinking, what did they do? And I could smell different fragrances in the air. I had my taste buds. I had such great satiety, if that's the proper way to say it. I hungered for different foods, but I had flavors in my mouth, very robust. And I had a room full of people that were supportive of me. And it was one of the most beautiful, satisfying days of my existence. And looking back at it, I accepted what defeat would look like, and it was a bit selfish, but I accepted it because I didn't want to, and this is with all respect given to those who are not fortunate enough to have had recovered the way that I did. I was fortunate enough to be able to walk again. That's something that I didn't take lightly. And when I finally got to the point where I could walk fully and run, it took months. I began running track, collegiately running track. And then I became a cheerleader, collegiately. And then I became a wrestler, collegiately. My mindset took off, and I told myself, I'm gonna do everything athletically, because this would put me in a position to exercise every part of my body, break barriers, break boundaries, get over the self-limiting beliefs, and it is very real. Get over the imposter syndrome, because it is very real, very real. And it's one of the greatest things I did. I ended up going on to play semi-pro football. Short period of time, very short period of time. But I ended up doing these things, the things that I did growing up in high school, aside from cheerleading. But these decisions allowed me to travel the entire United States. Coast to coast, corner to corner, north to south, top to bottom, east to west. And it was because I was given another chance and I didn't take it for granted. I did not. Sometimes you have to dig for your decision. Sometimes you do. I took my decision as life and death. Quite frankly, I chose life. But I was accepting of the latter. I was accepting of that. Is that considered defeat? To some, it may be. But I knew, if I get out of this, okay, I'm doing everything. I'm reading everything. I'm exercising my brain. I'm exercising my body. But there's more to exercising your brain, exercising your body. You have to have something greater within that you latch on to. So without me using the words religion, without me using the term faith, because we do have a good concept of what those things mean to us on an individualistic basis, I'm going to substitute these words for mindfulness and wellness practices, which is what health coaching is about, predominantly. I took a very much mindfulness and wellness approach. My interactions with individuals was more on a gratitude basis. I'm fortunate to be here. I'm fortunate to be able to have this conversation with you. I am a living testimony. Doesn't mean I can walk on water by any means. It doesn't mean that. But every day that I wake up and I have feeling in my legs, I think about the times when I didn't. And I also think about those that do not have the opportunity. And for that, I advocate for mental health, and I advocate for those that are tolerating and dealing with having an Arnold Chiari type of some sort, brain malformation. If you are experiencing any of the symptoms that I mentioned throughout this video, please do not hesitate to look up a well-studied and a well-versed neurologist anywhere in the nation, preferably close to your location, and get a brain MRI schedule. And specifically have them look for an Arnold Chiari brain malformation of some sort. It's worth it. It's worth it if you're not willing to tolerate and deal with. My symptoms were extreme. There wasn't a set agenda or timing. It wasn't once every 4 weeks I could expect it. My symptoms were not in sync with the moon. It wasn't every 2 months or twice a year. Sometimes it'll be 2 weeks in a row. Sometimes it'll be 4 or 5 days in a row. Sometimes it'll be every, spaced out every other month. When they happen, they happen. But what I learned in the process is how to stay calm, which affected many of my relationships. It just so happens. Me staying calm affected my relationships. I recall being told that I act like I don't care. You act like nothing bothers you. You act like you don't care. Blah, 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 blah. And all I can think about is Snoopy. I don't know what your generation is. But all I can think about is Snoopy when you hear them. Inaudibles upon inaudibles. And the only thing I can think of is if I allow myself to react in the worst capacity, my brain will swell. I will black out. And sometimes it would happen. Sometimes it would happen. But I need you to understand, it doesn't mean that I would black out and turn into a savage monster. It just means that when I allow the stress levels to get to me and my blood flow or my heart rate would increase, quite naturally, the swelling of my brain will cause me further harm than it would good. So I trained myself, literally trained myself to shut down under these conditions. Shut down and walk away. Shut down, go take a nap. Shut down and leave. But I didn't learn how to effectively communicate until later years. I wish I understood communication sooner and how to be an effective communicator. For an example, someone asks you, "Hey, how are you?" knowing that something's bothering you, and your response is, "I'm good." Brushing it off is one approach. You don't want someone to be so invasive in your privacy. You don't want to chip at the iceberg, or you don't want to start going down a rabbit hole where you're dumping a load on somebody. Pause. Where you're dumping your negative emotions onto somebody else. Understand that. But when you have a significant other or a spouse or a loved one that is showing concern, ask you, "Hey, how are you?" There's nothing wrong with expressing, "I have a lot on my plate at the moment. Give me a couple of minutes, or give me a couple of hours. I'd like to talk further about it. Don't mind my tone. It's not towards you, but if it is towards them, let it be known. There's something that took place in our discourse previously, or there's something that we discussed yesterday, or something that you did earlier that actually bothered me, but I just want to really wrap my mind around it first before talking about it." This way you can disarm them. They're on alert, but they're not on high alert. They understand that it's something that they did in fact do. It gives them time to reflect. It gives you time to reflect further until you can finally have a solid understanding of how to carry this follow conversation. It doesn't have to be with your significant other. It could be a coach. It could be something from social media. It could be something that the dog did. It could be a pet. The pet probably jumped up on the counter, knocked over the whole glass of juices everywhere, and got over on the toaster, and electronics got fried, whatever. You can be bothered. The thing is, it is okay to communicate how you feel. It is certainly okay to express your emotions. It's the grace that we put behind these expressions that makes it more worth dealing with when you're the other person. Anybody can haul off and be negative and be mean. That doesn't make you a savage or a beast or a badass. It takes a lot more strength and grit and resiliency and grace to know how to bite your tongue and withhold being harmful with your speech toward people that actually care and have concern for you. It takes a lot more strength to know how to be quiet and exercise that in a time of calamity where emotionally you're distraught and you would like to do nothing more than punch somebody in the face. It's not your best option though. What is the end result of that? And what problems are being solved? Having a healthy emotional outlet is very beautiful. having someone who you can communicate with effectively in regards to your daily traumas, your hidden skeletons, your dark days, your dark mindset. This goes into mental health a great amount, and it's one of the reasons that I became a health coach, because I lacked severely in many of these departments, and I thought just being silent was saving somebody's ass. That's what I thought. Let me just be quiet because I could probably hurt somebody. And that's not the best solution. Hurt people tend to hurt people. That's not right. Now, left and right, those are directions, but on a more disposition level, that's not right. And it's not fair to myself. It underhands my ability to be effective as a survivor of what other people are still tolerating and dealing with. It sells them short. Me understanding what I've endured and what I've been through medically, not just from actual bad treatment or bad unhealthy relationships or unhealthy friendships, but understanding for myself what I've been through medically, I will be doing these other survivors, or the ones that still tolerating and dealing with, I'll be doing them a great disservice to play into the hands of something that I can in fact help. So every day it's an exercise. So I encourage you, and this is going to be a call to action. I encourage you that if you find that you are stumbling with your words, stuttering, in which I've tried to keep that to a minimal during this video, thank you. If you find that you're fumbling over words, simple words, having memory displacement, forgetting where you left off in stories, or forgetting simple directions, academically being challenged with simple things, libido can be affected and impaired, indirectly affecting your testosterone levels. For the men that's out there that don't understand, this can adversely impact your testosterone. And testosterone is more than just a bedroom hormone. For those that know, and for those that do not know, your testosterone is responsible for a lot of times for your fight or flight immediate response, along with other hormones, not just testosterone. Your testosterone is also responsible for the reparation of muscles. It assists with your levels of integrity. It assists with your levels of strength to a great degree. Not to all degrees, but to a great degree. It also assists with your companionship factors. You just know when that animal is there. And you know also when the beast is just caged. You know, are you a wolf? Are you a domesticated dog? It's just two ways to look at it. For myself, I used to be that wolf. But during episodes of instant fatigue and days of no legs and body pain, you don't want to be held. You're not trying to be cuddled. You want grace. You definitely want grace. So if you're fumbling with your words, stuttering, having issues with drive, suffering from having instant fatigue, numbness and tingling in the extremities, it could be the arms as well. Many times I feel the pin needles on my fingertips and I would just press, oh, this is interesting. What's going on here? I didn't know that my brain was too large. Didn't know that. If your legs are going to sleep while you're sitting on the toilet, if your legs are going to sleep while you're sitting in a hard chair or on a firm surface, do something about it. it kind of goes into the phrase, see something, say something. You know, when there's something that looks a little dangerous, and you might be in the presence of a crime scene, or you might see or witness something taking place that probably shouldn't be taking place. See something, say something. But if you notice something, do something, please. You can't go buy another body. You can't go in Walmart and request new legs. Can I get that for about 20% off? There is no Whole Foods sale on extra bodies. We're not going to get into the conspiracies. We're not going to do that here. Yet. However, for those that know, you only get one body, okay? I'm grateful and I'm thankful. So my call to action is, if you have already or a loved one survived brain surgery or an Arnold type 1 craniectomy, which is the actual term for the surgical procedure, a craniectomy, or a Chiari decompression, I've used those interchangeably, and you're not sure where to start, you're not sure how to begin your new life, your new opportunity to utilize your full capacity. And if you're just sedentary and you feel unhealthy, if you think you're unhealthy, if you know you're unhealthy, and you're ready to do something about your health, I'm offering you at this moment, please click down below. I'm offering a 12-month free transformation blueprint. It's the 12-month Health and Fitness Transformation Blueprint. That's the full name of it. It's completely free. I will need your name and email address for you to download it. I took my journey into consideration as a certified doctor of indigenous health and medicine, health coach, certified health coach, certified personal trainer, certified bodybuilding specialist, certified corrective exercise specialist, certified strength conditioning specialist, certified nutritionist. Thanks to ISAA, much love and shout out to you all for bestowing such knowledge and information upon me through my academic studies over the last few years, several years. This transformation is definitely for you. The transformation covers mindfulness, wellness, the physical fitness aspect, and nutrition. There's an outline in the transformation blueprint that will detail all 12 months, what you can expect. If you find that, look, this is too much, by all means, it was free, delete it, discard it, pass it on to somebody else. And then each month, for all 12 months, from the time that you start, that's day one, each month is broken down into 4 weeks where there are expectations where you can meet your own metrics, starting with 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, then 4 days a week, 5 days a week, progressively up to 6 days a week. This is not the short term. This is not the just A to B. This is the journey. It took me a long time to get back to being studious and excelling academically. And so now, whereas I started off with advanced knowledge and information, higher education, and I fumbled with the basic words in the English language, where I used to speak French, where I was learning Japanese, where I was learning Amharic, where I was learning the other languages, and now I'm predominantly just English speaking, where I was stumbling with basic math, where I'd never seen a B until middle school. I'm now afforded the opportunity to memorize things in great capacities, as long as I'm constantly working on it. This journey is about growth. Recording this is not just for yourselves, it's also for myself. I've shared a portion of my journey with some people. I've never really gotten a chance to share it in 45 minutes to an hour in depth. I've never gotten that opportunity. So this is also for myself to see the growth of myself from beginning till now. And throughout the journey of this channel, which there are several exercise videos on this channel already, but throughout the duration of this channel, from this video moving forward, I'm going to be covering more mindfulness and wellness and nutrition and physical fitness, physical health. These 4 pillars are optimal. They're optimal. You have one body, and your body is composed of about 12 systems. Starting from the top is Aries, and starting and ending with the feet is Pisces. I'm not pushing any belief systems. I'm not trying to convince anybody that horoscopes are real or that zodiacs are real, which they are called polarities. I'm not trying to persuade anybody of anything. I'm only putting out information, regurgitated information that I've learned that has been beneficial for not only myself, but for many others. And I have trained well over 1,000 individuals up until this point. I've been in the personal training capacity for well over 15 years. Have I been able to service everybody? No. I don't aim to service everybody. I can't make you choose the right foods or make the right decisions. I can only inform you as best as I can that good, better, and best. Do you want the good nutrition and health? Do you want the better nutrition and health, or do you want the best? Some people choose the good. Hey, you can eat whatever you would like to eat. As a health coach, I exercise mindfulness and emotional well-being and emotional intelligence to a great capacity. Be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful of your environment. Okay. Sleep hygiene is very important. And this is all over the place, but it's intentional to be all over the place, because the message is going to reach those who need to be reached. If you're still watching this and you like any of the content of this video, by all means, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. This will help this video get more traction and get more noticed, and it can reach the people that have suffered. It can reach the people who have tolerated and dealt with these brain issues like I've dealt with, or just the symptoms. And for those that may be asymptomatic and later on something may end up taking place, or you may know someone who can benefit from this information, please forward this video to them. So I thank you all for tuning in and for watching for close to an hour. May this 1 hour be worth your time. Hopefully you will on a treadmill, passing time, or doing something else constructive. But if I had your undivided attention, that's even greater. Click the link in the description below to receive your 12-month free health and wellness transformation blueprint. That's a mouthful. Completely free. And I'm going to offer you to join my health and wellness group on nas.io. nas.io/LINHAM. Please, by all means, take care. Enjoy yourselves. Be mindful.